Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you are, your honorable and respected dignitaries, guests, panelists, and colleagues. On behalf of Bahrain Businesswomen Society President and members, I would like to thank you for your participation in this event. I would like to take a few minutes of your time to introduce myself and the Bahrain Businesswomen Society. My name is Doris Martin, the Vice Head of Training and Technology Committee in Bahrain Businesswomen Society, and appointed Ambassador for Women in Tech, Bahrain Chapter. Bahrain Businesswomen Society was established in year 2000. The aim of the society is to empower businesswomen and young entrepreneurs in different sectors, focus on business growth, innovation, and sustainability. We would like to pay tribute to our great leadership, Kingdom of Bahrain, the Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the King of the Kingdom of Bahrain, His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Her Highness Princess Sabiha bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, the wife of the King, President of Supreme Council for Women, and first honorary President of the Society, and Her Highness Sheikha Tajba bin Salman Al Khalifa, the Society Honorary President, for their support in empowering representation of women in both private and government sector, and paving the way for the achievement of Bahraini businesswomen. We would like to extend our thanks for His Excellency Sheikh Hisham bin Abdurrahman Al Khalifa, the Governor of the Capital Governorate, and his team for the continued support in promoting entrepreneurship programs in the Kingdom of Bahrain. We are honored to take part as a strategic partner in Manama Entrepreneurs Week for the 6th consecutive year. This year, we are proud to announce that Women in Tech Bahrain Chapter is a knowledge partner. Today, the Bahrain Businesswomen Society has more than 40 local and international partners. The latest international mutual partnership agreement was signed with Ayumi Moore Oki, CEO and founder of Women in Tech Global Movement. The headquarters of this nonprofit organization is situated in Paris, France. The aim of Women in Tech is to promote gender equality in technology. We would like to give a warm welcome and appreciation to our distinguished Women in Tech guest speakers, Ayumi Moore Oki, founder and CEO of Women in Tech Global, founder and CEO of Social Brain and Her Digital Academy. His Excellency Hussein Al Mahmoudi, CEO, Sharjah Research Technology Innovation Park and American University Sharjah Enterprise Advisory Board, Women in Tech Global. Malfinis Ngoha Malenga, Managing Director, Southern Africa Institute for Aviation, Science and Technology, Country Director, Women in Tech, Zambia. Dr. Maya Zilahuk, Interim Dean, Forbes School of Business and Technology, University of Arizona, Global Campus, Fulbright Specialist, Global Research and author. Dr. Narisa Shivadel, CEO and founder, Kogo Pay Group, Women in Tech Global Award winner, Women in Tech Ambassador, Thailand, Go Global Award winner 2021, recognized by International Trade Council. Andrea Simpson, co-founder of Her Digital Academy, Country Director, Women in Tech, Canada. Lamis Ammar, Key Accounts Director, Social Impact Lead, MENA, LinkedIn. Purva Agrawal, Business Strategist, Founder and CEO, Go Piggy, Ambassador, Women in Tech, India. Our moderator of today is Fatoon Hajjar, Board Member in Women in Tech Bahrain Chapter, Society Member in Training and Technology Committee, Partner in Al Tamimi Law Firm, Bahrain Office. Thank you all, and we look forward for a fruitful and great discussion. God bless, and I yield the floor to Fatoon Hajjar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doris, and thank you for everybody for joining us today. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to those of you who are in different zones. I hope today will be a thought-provoking and engaging discussion on something that's very close to all our hearts and something that's very, very important. Now, for Bahrain, in the last 5 years, the government here has made substantial strides in defending its cloud-first policy. In the ensuing years, a collaborative effort between the executive and the legislative branches of government refined laws and regulations in line with international best practice. For example, in 2018 alone, and this is a first for the region, not just for Bahrain, a personal data protection law emulating the European GDPR was unveiled, followed by an electronic transferable records law and an electronic communications and transactions law modeled on the United Nations Commission e-commerce models and the UN Convention on the Use of Electronic Communications in International Contracts. Equally, we've seen in Bahrain the establishment of dedicated government bodies responsible for overseeing cybersecurity and data breach offences in order to protect the citizens of the kingdom and residents from the misuse and exploitation of technology. Ever since, Bahrain has witnessed a considerable hike in the tech-based business incorporations in a number of sectors with remarkable female representations, which makes me very, very happy. In 2020, for example, a study conducted by the World Economic Forum, Bahrain ranked second amongst all Arab states in closing the gender pay gap. This progressive approach, aimed at enhancing female representation in the economy, offers preferential microfinance solutions to women entrepreneurs through the Tamkeen Riyadat program and extends to public-private partnerships tailored to scale up women-owned tech platforms in Bahrain. For example, we have the Standard Chartered Women in Tech Incubation Program. So female representation in tech is rampant in Bahrain, and it has also been reflected in key government appointments. For example, the current president of Bahrain's lower house of parliament is a woman, and so is the chief of the kingdom's health regulator and largest public university. In their given capacity, women are seen to advocate change and innovation. The president of Bahrain's lower house of parliament advocated for increasing public spending on R&D, and this is a significant milestone in the Middle East. Several months later, the CEO of NAHRA, the National Health Regulatory Authority, issued a decision requiring pharmaceutical drug manufacturers to install wireless tracking devices to adhere to the GS1 barcoding standards in a move to clamp down on counterfeit drug importation. So the firm belief in the kingdom and the leaders of the kingdom in change and the deployment of technology as a means for change has delivered remarkable results and received plaudits at home and across the region. And with that, I'm happy to say that this is why the creation of the Women in Tech chapter in Bahrain cannot come at a better time and more opportune moment for all of us. And with that, I'm going to start to discuss the agenda with our panelists. His Excellency Hussein, who has already been introduced, will talk to us about what he does, his challenges, the opportunities he foresees, and how he perceives the future of women in tech. Please, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having me as part of this amazing session. I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to be part of today's session and share with you our activities here in the UAE. The UAE, as a country, believe firmly in the role of women in advancing economies and advancing the social development of the country, whether you're talking about the government sector or the private sector or the academia or non-for-profit. The work that I do as a head of the Sharjah Research and Technology Park is really to build an innovation ecosystem that support the development of the economy of the country. And we do this in different ways. Of course, one is by developing an ecosystem and infrastructure that allow entrepreneurs, both men and women, to excel and to accelerate. We also do this by developing human capital and developing talents that can really empower and promote technology and create new ideas. And three is by forcing or enforcing the triple helix approach, the relationship between private sector, government sector, and academia. And last but not least, by designing and creating ventures and companies that basically create economic impact, create new job opportunities, and create wealth in the country. Our belief that women is a 50% of the society, and any society that does not enable women to perform, it's not a complete society, and that's a conviction of the leadership of the United Arab Emirates. For us in the park, we are very lucky to have a group of leading women in tech, whether they are in the healthcare sector or mixed reality sector or artificial intelligence or education and other topics. Our relationship with women and technology started nearly 3 years ago with Ayomi, and it's been an amazing journey so far to see this topic from a global perspective by networking with leading professional women and entrepreneurs from all over the world. And I'm really glad to see the Women Tech Bahrain now coming as well. So congratulations on this. And I assure you that we are in Sharjah and UAE at your disposal with anything we can help with and share of best practices. And I look forward to really our collaboration with you. Today, the world post-pandemic goes through a big challenge. And I think it's our duty as professionals, as entrepreneurs, to come up and create new vehicles and new opportunities for ourselves and for others to excel. And I think the beauty of women in technology is that it creates a global network that gives every individual of us access to technologies from all over the world. It gives every one of us access to investment, to investors, and to best practices. So that's, I think, something that Yomi and her institution can bring. And we experienced this firsthand with the different projects we've done in Sharjah. The launch of the Women in Technology in UAE was an amazing platform where many people came. And then we also collaborate on creating the Middle East Technology Transfer Summit, which was an amazing opportunity. So it's the opportunity for collaboration is immense. I would say one thing also, the UAE today hosts a global gathering at Expo 2020. I believe this is an amazing opportunity for the Women in Technology Network to present itself to the whole world. And I will encourage all of you, and of course, Ayomi, to take advantage of this. I know we have an event that is organized in November. I would like to invite everyone to be part of this event. But I believe Expo can become a platform to promote women in technology's interest and new opportunities as well. And I would encourage everyone to really look at it. So what we are really doing here in Sharjah is really to come up with formulas that empower women to excel, whether providing them with really a special type of licensing, whether we providing them with a special incubations, or creating or identifying opportunities for women to excel in different sectors. I don't want to take much of your time, but I'm really excited to be part of this network. I'm very excited to see Bahrain playing a leading role in this. Bahrain is known for its entrepreneurship ecosystem and entrepreneurship mindset. And we can see this in the finance industry. We can see this in many other industries. So congratulations for this chapter. And I look forward also to collaborate with you and hopefully do something on the ground together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. That's really, really interesting. And as you said, the UAE is and one of those states that is at the forefront of empowering women generally and also of technology. And it is a hub in the region. Thank you very much for your support and your kind words. I know you have to leave us now, sadly, but hopefully we will see you soon. Shukran. Ayumi, so lots of positive words there from His Excellency on what you're doing and what you've done and the role you're playing in the technology space for women. Please tell us what drives you. Tell us what keeps you up at night. Tell us why you started this wonderful journey and where we're going with it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Futun. Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Hussein. It's such a pleasure to be here today with you for so many reasons. Obviously, because we've already spoken in Bahrain last year. It was also virtually, but hopefully maybe next time it will be in person. But to see so many known faces, so many wonderful women that they inspire me every day to do more for women in tech. I can see Narisa, so she's from our ambassador from Thailand, Mafu from Zambia, Andrea from Canada. So we had Hussein from the UAE and obviously Doris from Bahrain and so many other friends like Maya that we also met in the Balkans this year. So thank you so much. And it's a very nice time. It's like it's as if I was among family. So this is great. What inspires me? I'd say that it's part of also the challenges and opportunities of women in technology. Today, around the world, women represent 50% or a little bit more than 50% in the world. And there's not one country in the whole entire world where gender parity has been achieved. Full gender parity does not exist. So this is something that really unites us all because we're all sisters of the world, where we're all fighting and trying our best to get the recognition and the opportunities that we deserve, whether it's in Brazil, in Canada, in Japan, or in the Middle East. I think we all have different challenges perhaps, but with the same focus, which is we still have to achieve this gender parity. And what we have experienced in the past 20 months with the COVID and with the pandemic is that we lost almost 35 years of gender achievement, right? So today, to get gender achievement around the world, we're looking at something like over 100 years, 135 years. So this is a long way to go, and we don't want to wait that long. We want to start acting now. And I think if we act now, and if we act together in a global level, this gender gap can be so much smaller, and we can really try and reach parity in a much faster way. Not just because it's the ethical thing to do and it's the right thing to do, but also because it's going to make our economies thrive. I think we have this huge opportunity right now to reinvent what the future of work will be, what the way we're going to be working remote, the way we're going to be learning, the future of the job opportunities, and also what the new jobs are going to be looking like. I think that in 10 years' time, half of the jobs, they don't even exist yet. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity right now to act, to reinvent our society, reinvent our economy, make it much more sustainable as well, because we have this shift where this digital transformation where we can shift right now. And obviously, we have to be part of the equation. We have to be the ones also enabling the creation so we can integrate ourselves and make sure that diversity and inclusion is part of this new world that we are building right now. And this is for so many reasons. So when I founded Women in Tech, it was almost 4 years ago. I went to Web Summit that's taking place November of year in Lisbon. And I knew that the gender gap in technology was very big. But what I didn't know then was that this gender gap was getting bigger and bigger. For me, it was bad, but things are getting better. And that's not it. Things were getting worse. So I said, what can we do right now to fight and to take action to find a solution? Because networking alone won't do it. Giving people, like they do in Web Summit, just some discounts, that's not going to solve the problem, right? To solve the problem, we have to work on the challenges, on the pain points that we find along a woman's life cycle, that starts from education, which is the main thing, and goes throughout a woman's life. So it starts from education. We have obviously the corporate, the professional life with business. We also have problems in digital inclusion according to the social level of the person or in which area she's living in. And obviously at the end, we also have advocacy. So we really work on these four main pillars for women, because we really want to find a way to together get solutions and get a better counting. So we are on a mission right now to empower 5 million women and girls across the world with these 4 pillars, so which are, once again, education, business, digital inclusion, and advocacy. And to say that numbers are just, obviously we say, okay, 5 million, that's great, but we are so many more women around the world. But 5 million women represents 5 million different lives that we can change and that we can power. And I want to tell you the story of someone that I met, and her name is Dina Damjanovic. So the very, very first action that we took with Women in Tech was in 2018. We had this, this digital program where we wanted to teach women and girls how to code. It was a 3-week digital program, digital boot camp. The youngest person was 14 years old and the oldest lady was 56 years old. So it was very, very wide range. And for 3 weeks, we taught them the basics of HTML, of CSS, and the basics of web development. So that was in July 2018. 1 year later, I was opening the chapter in North Macedonia, and I was telling the people, the audience, that we had the Minister of Innovation and very honorable people, and the crowd was very full. I had about 200 people. And I was saying that the first person that I met when I created Women in Tech was from North Macedonia, because she's the lady who helped me create the program on web development. And then I see a little hand stand up on the crowd, and it was this lady, and she said, I was one of those 50 women that took part of this web development bootcamp. And thanks to this, from being a waitress on a hostel, she got the courage to continue learning more about web development, and she became a front-end developer. And she was then getting her first job as a front-end developer in Skopje in North Macedonia, which made a huge impact for her family, from in all areas. So that was 2 years ago. Today, this lady, she was fired from her previous job. From resilience, we helped her through mentoring, through mental health, through not giving up, and with soft skills. And today she has joined another company. And now she's a managing director of this IT company in Skopje with over 50 people under her. So this just shows a success story of how really impact can do through education, through mentoring, through being part of this network of women, lifting each other up. We can change lives. If it's wonderful to change the life of one person, imagine us changing the life of 5 million people. And this is really what we want to do. And obviously I don't do this alone. I do this with all these some of the wonderful women that are here today that are going to tell you about their work, whether it's in education with Andrea, where we have even built her Digital Academy to take this further, because we saw that the power of education, this is what really can change lives, right? With that, and also with business, it's so important, business, because we don't want women to be at the back. We want women to be on the top. We want them to be leading their companies. We want them to be innovators. We want them to have all the financial help they can get. And just for you to, just a little thing that I read the other day, which is completely crazy, but it's completely true, is that today, for instance, in the United States, there are more companies owned by a CEO called John than number of women, female companies in the whole country. So there are more CEOs, John, than women-led companies in the United States. And this is a sad truth. It's funny, but it's very sad. And I hope you're going to be changing this very, very soon. And I'm counting on you, wonderful ladies and women, to take us this a step further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayumi. Very inspiring indeed. Really, that story is just like you said, one small example of how educating and empowering and mentoring women can have such a big impact on their life and the life of those around them. That's fantastic. And really, really, hats off to you for what you've done. That's really, really brilliant. And with that, I'd like to move on to Mafunase, if possible. So please, can you tell us about your relationship with Women in Tech, what you've done, and where do you see the challenges going forward?
Thank you so much, and I'm honored to be here, and all protocols observed. I'll share my screen. Allow me to share my screen.
Yeah, take.
You should, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so my name is Amaknase, and I'm the founder and managing director of Southern Africa Institute of Aviation, Science and Technology. I'm the country director for Women in Tech Zambia, and I'm also the co-founder of Shingamo. So in 2016, I opened up my institution called Southern Africa Institute of Aviation, Science and Technology. And I could see, and our aim was to equip students with skills in STEM fields and produce graduates that will bring a positive change in the industry. Being a female-owned company and led company, I could see that I received less support than the men companies in the same field. It took me 5 years to have my first five. It took me 3 years to have my first 5 students, and these are the students that I had after 3 years. In 2019, we had our first graduation, and I started seeing an increase of students at our institution. 2020, we had our second graduation, and indeed, the most satisfying, and I think the joy that I have is seeing these students graduate and finding employment, and indeed bringing a positive change in industry. Like 5 years ago, I couldn't see it because I received no help because obvious reason, being female and people not believing in me. I'm also the co-founder of Shingamo Media, and which is it's a software development company, and we developed one of the app called Pinned App, which is a cloud-based village banking app, which is a transaction tracking app. So in Zambia, if you're a businesswoman or in a small scale businesswoman, it's so hard to get financial help. So what people have started doing, and we're targeting sole traders, they started developing a group called saving groups. So in each community around Zambia, there are these groups where they learn themselves money. But one of the challenges that we saw was transparency and efficiency. So we came up with this app where everyone can log in and see all the transactions, and we're about to launch this app. And secondly, this year, on the 26th of March, we launched Women in Tech Zambia. And I quickly realized it's quite easy to conduct, and this during the pandemic, in the urban area, you can log in via Zoom and you can conduct trainings. But what about the people in the rural areas? I could easily close my eyes and say, I'll stick to the easy part, but I felt I would want to work with both communities, the urban community and the rural areas. In the rural areas, the challenge is you just can't go there and say, we are here to close the gender gap or to empower women. Before you even get to that, there's a lot of situation. There's no water, no electricity. So what we've come up with, we are launching building a computer lab and still raising finances. We partnered up with Priceless Women, and we dug water for the community. And the other thing I noticed, the children, they don't have meals, others have one meal. We wanted to empower women by growing vegetables at the back of their yard, so they can have a meal, come through the institution, come through the center, have clean water. Well, then we can conduct our entrepreneurship process, and also we're trying to introduce drone training. And lastly, we also partnered up with a woman. She's got a primary school, and these did not have chairs, and these are all orphans. All these are given uniforms. So we donated some essentials for them, and we're just partnering up, working together, and trying to partner up with different organizations just to try and help out this primary school. Thank you so much. That's all I had.
I mean, honestly, that's amazing work. Fantastic. What you're doing is beyond expectations. And really, you're one of those people that's inspiring, I think, to all of us. That's fantastic. And I noted in those pictures, there were some young boys as well, which I think is really important as well, you know, because when we push the gender narrative, when we push the equality, when we push the woman narrative, I also think that we need to be very careful not to discriminate as men have all their lives against us, we should be very careful not to fall in that trap as well. So I think that it should be based on merit, a merit-based system and society, whether it's in tech, business, or anything else, and not just because you're a woman or you're a man, although, of course, we need to develop ourselves and our skills as women, and we do need to close the gender gap, as Ayumi very well put. Now on to, this is really, really more interesting than I can imagine, this discussion. I hope everyone else is finding it as interesting as I am. I'd like to go now to Dr. Maya. Dr. Maya, hello from the US. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here. I would like to greet all the organizers of this Entrepreneurship Week in Bahrain, and also would like to also send my greetings to all the esteemed panelists as well.
Thank you very much. So, Dr. Maya, tell us about yourself, your journey, and all the great things that you're doing, no doubt.
Sure. I'm an interim dean with the Forbes School of Business and Technology with the University of Arizona Global Campus. I'm also a researcher. I'm a global lecturer and researcher. I've done research in the developing countries across the world. And I also was working on different e-learning development and implementation initiatives in the developing world in the Southern African region in particular. And one of the countries that I worked in actually was Zambia. So I'm very glad to say hi to Mafunase, and very excited about some of the developments that she just presented.
Indeed, yes, I second that. So tell us in more detail about your work. So what do you do in terms of your work at the Technology Institute, and how does that affect women in technology?
We're the university that has a separate technology division, and we are the Forbes School of Business and Technology under the umbrella of the University of Arizona Global Campus. And our technology division is consistently in tune with all the developments on the job markets. And what we're trying to do through many of our activities is we're trying to incorporate more women into the field of technology and provide our students, both male and female, with the opportunities to engage with the professionals within their field. And also we are working on many different seminars, workshops, and many different activities to get the students more engaged and more in touch with the individuals within their field in order for them to be able to be integrated into the technology careers once they graduate, or if they're already in the field of technology, to make sure they can actually move up the ladder. Women in technology, they are highly intelligent, motivated professionals, but it is still a male-dominated environment, as we all know. For example, a 2021 Women in Tech report found that 72% of women in technology are outnumbered by men in business meetings by a ratio at least 2 to 1, while 26% report being outnumbered by 5 to 1 or even more. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because the women are not seeing mentors in those boardrooms. They're not seeing female mentors that they can relate to. It is also very important because what's happening to women is that they're not able to compare notes and rely on each other for the support. Sometimes women leave the technology field in order to find a more friendlier environment. So they leave the fields entirely. Half of the women in tech leave their employers mid-career. And this is as per the very recent article in Forbes magazine, How Leaders Can Do More to Keep Women in Tech by Eddie Schwartz. So thinking about this, what had happened as a result of COVID as a scenario, there was a very interesting statistics that indicates that women left any fields, not just technological fields, by much greater number than men. And that happened in the Western Hemisphere. So we're not even considering the developing world when it comes to that statistics. Women left because they are the primary child caretakers, or they're taking care of their elderly family members. So this pandemic exposed the inequalities in all the fields, tech being no exception. So when we're talking about, during COVID, there's a lot of companies that were working on many initiatives pertaining to the diversity, equity, and inclusion to advance and retain women in tech. For example, fields such as the global technology manufacturer, development of software. And when we're looking at different corporations, what they've done in regards to building community and engagement amongst the female employees, they are still at a greater rate likely to lose the female talent within the field. And the female talent is not only difficult to obtain, it's now what we're going through these statistical data, it's difficult to retain. So when we talk about the biggest challenges for women in tech, regardless of the country, it's the lack of access of female role models. What happens is at a middle school level, the education of the girls are outperforming their male counterparts. However, they lose that momentum once they hit the high school level. By the time they reach college, all of a sudden the men are dominating, the male students are dominating the field. So when do we need to capture those female students? Well, clearly, as they're exiting the middle school, going into a high school. At that point of time, for some reason, they're not seeing the role modeling, they're not seeing female teachers, they're seeing the more of a ratio of a male teachers. And especially when it comes to the elective courses within the United States system, our students are given an opportunity to choose many elective courses throughout their career. What happens with the female students, if they are in a classroom setting where they are a minority, they may end up abandoning that particular course and going to another course that they may perceive more as a female friendly. They have more of the female student counterparts. Right. So when it comes to the lack of female role models, that is a concern. A lack of adequate training to succeed. That is why, in addition to the curriculum within our school, we are providing many different professional development workshops, and also always being mindful when we're having different presenters from the industry, we're being mindful of the diversity, making sure that we have the female presenters that are successful in their field. The majority of the women in tech will encounter male direct supervisors. So are they having a support from those male supervisors? Also, their employers are sometimes not really projecting confidence in their work, and they're not able to commit to provide them with the professional development opportunities they require. Then women in tech have a limited networking opportunities. So what we need to do first through the education, and then once those women hit the workforce, is providing them with the time and tools in order for the women to help band together. So the organizations such as the one that we are presenting today, as far as the women in tech, that I had a pleasure meeting in my native region of Balkans, in a beautiful Croatia this summer, is providing us with these venues and those opportunities for women in tech to network, and also to network with women from other fields, because the networking amongst women, established career professionals, and the ones aspiring to be leaders in their fields is of incredible importance. Now, virtual expert-led training is another item that we can absolutely nurture. And as a matter of fact, this pandemic has taught us that the virtual learning environment, virtual networking environment, virtual environment to collaborate and work together is definitely one of the alternatives. I don't think it will replace face-to-face contact. I would much rather be in Bahrain today versus sitting in my office and talking to you virtually. And I'm sure I would be welcomed, and I would meet some terrific ladies and gentlemen that are working on your conference. But at the same point of time, when it comes to the absence of travel, we can work on these items virtually. And also the employers and the universities, they have to draw that engagement when it comes to the early career pathing, mid-career pathing for the women in tech. You know, as we as professionals, as we gain experience, we are hopefully getting to be more confident. And what's happening is, across the field, this Forbes article indicates that 40% of women are actually less than confident within their jobs. What we end up doing is we're doing a poor job negotiating our salaries in comparison to our male counterparts. We're second guessing ourselves, triple guessing ourselves more so than our male counterparts. And what ends up happening is once we develop that confidence, once we develop that strength, we're more likely to be perceived as aggressive or micromanagers in comparison to our male counterparts.
Yeah.
When I did my research on the perception, there is a different way that women leaders are perceived in comparison to male leaders. So that we have to be mindful of that.
Absolutely, 100%. I think you're absolutely right there. And I would go a step further. I would say that the universities and the schools have very little hope of educating women and pushing them if the family, the basic family, don't. It comes from the family, it has to. It comes from the mom and the dad, and we need to educate the culture, the people. So, you know, if you come from a family where the boy does this and the girl does that, you don't have very much hope in the professional world. Well, if you come from a family and a culture that encourages equally the boys and the girls, whether it's cooking or business or law or technology or whatever it is, both should be encouraged to do the same. This is my view, and I'm sure you would agree. So I think you're operating within a very tough environment if the culture and the family, the basic roots, aren't with you. Thank you so much, Professor. That's really, really interesting. Keep up the good work. Really exciting stuff. And I do hope we see you soon in Bahrain.
Yeah,
Very soon.
you.
You'll be more than welcome to see us.
Thank you so much.
We look forward to meeting you all in Bahrain soon, inshallah. Now, Dr. Narisa, hello, how are you?
Hello.
So
Hi.
nice to see you here. So I would like to ask you about this exciting GoCo Pay that you have established, and you can tell us all about it, please, and how it's helping women and enhancing and empowering them in the marketplace.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Love to go to Bahrain in person one day. I normally, you know, like travel with Gulf and also always stop by 2 hours at the airport in the Laos. One day I should go and travel
You
around.
have to come in one day, you're here.
Yeah, I will. I would like to share experience, what I'm doing and challenges and opportunity that I have doing the CocoPay, and also share a bit of what we're doing in as an ambassador of Women in Tech Thailand. My background, I'm a CEO and founder of CocoPay, but before I set up my company, I was a full-time lecturer before in the university. I was born in Bangkok. I came to UK for my PhD, my study, and I went to USA before for my master. But I'm living in the UK for 25 years. This is, you know, where I live at the moment. I interested in technology probably around, 20 years ago when I set up my first company, .com, doing website, the first website about Thailand. And I sold my website to Tourism Authority of Thailand in the UK. And that's the first probably technology company that I set up. And a few years ago, 2016, I was interested in blockchain technology. So I involved in the blockchain group and joined some courses and invest in the company in blockchain. So 3 years ago, so I set up my own company, CocoPay. So CocoPay is digital wallet and digital bank. My vision of doing business is how can I use technology that I learn and with my team, with my research group to help people. So I'm interested in technology, but not just to make money. So I just want to see our technology can help people as well. Part of it can help people. So my vision is to create an ecosystem that we can use technology to help people, how to be financial inclusion. My mission also how to bring between the old traditional like fiat currency to the digital currencies as well. That's what my vision is. So I have two products at the moment. We're launching soon. We having CocoPay banking, so we can open GBP and Euro account for corporate customers. So customer in UK, Europe, or mainly maybe I'm onboarding some customer from Asia to have GBP Euro account that we link with SEPA payment and faster payment. In the beginning, will be like fiat currency first, and then next year we develop, integrate with the blockchain so we can offer digital currencies as well. So my interest now, not just a cryptocurrency, I want to see how we can work with government like CBDC in the sandbox with them. And this is the first product. And the second one is CocoPay wallet. If you think of me like Alipay in Asia, so CocoPay will be like the European UK version of like Alipay. So people can top up the money and send the money between us, and also cross-border payment as well. So hopefully in the future, we can include like cryptocurrency, like digital currency and CBDC in the future as well. And we don't want to be just, you know, like another mobile app that send money across at a remittance. We want to have the app that we can use as a smart app that we can use it to connect with other services in the future. And also we can use the CocoPay to donate to like big issue vendor who's a homeless people who's selling magazine on the street, or we want to see how we can help like homeless people. If they don't have the mobile app, we can give them some ID or QR code so they can use in the hostels, and or you know, go use somewhere that they can get free food and drink. It's something that we want to develop in the future as well. That's something that in my heart. What we have done so far, we raise, you know, it's very difficult to raise money, as you know, like statistically only less than 1% of women can, you know, raise money, but we managed to raise so far 2.5 million. We have the money so we can invest more in the front end and back end. And after we launch it, we're going to continue doing some research on blockchain, and also how to link digital currency on our platform as well. With the money that we raise in different rounds, the latest one in May, we raised 1 million. So we're not looking only for money. We're looking for the good partners as well. The investor that we have give us the good link to our partners in the futures as well, like True Money. So we talk to the end financiers as well. And what we're trying to do so far, we won a few awards, and I think the first one, thank you to Ayumi. I met her 3 years ago by chance in UK, and she kindly, you know, understand what we're trying to do, and give me the award of the Women in Tech in 2019. That's how we met in the first time. And it helped me as well to be able to share with people my vision and what I would like to do. So we got a few awards. The latest one that we have is in 14 October. We are the winner of the Global Award from the Trade Council. And also recently I was featured in the book, the Parliament Trust, to celebrate 200 years of UK that have the first Prime Minister 300 years ago, and also to celebrate the Queen's 95th birthday. So we're quite happy where we are so far and what we achieved so far. The challenges that I have, past, present, and I know that are going to be in the future as well. We are in a heavy regulated business. We need to have the license. We have license in the UK and Europe, but it took us many, many months and sweat and blood to get the license. It's not easy at all. And fundraising, as you know, it's very difficult. And technology change all the time. Once we, we raise fund, we cannot do straight away in the beginning. We have to do, in transitions, and it's very difficult when technology change. So we have to keep updating our technology as well. When we raise funds, so we spend a lot of money on upgrading the front end and the back end. And also the compliance is very difficult and very tough. So we need to make sure, because I'm come from compliance backgrounds, my PhD is in like compliance in the bank. So I have to make sure that my compliance is strong enough to make sure that no one can use our platform to, like money laundering, something like that. And to find the right partners is like, you have to kissing many frogs to find your prince. So I don't want to jump into anyone who, want to invest with us or partner with us. I have to very, very, be patient, have to wait until we find the right partners and investors as well. And also the team, I can't do this without my team at all. So we have to have a good team, and how can we motivate them and, fight together and keep going together. So key takeaway for me for the business is like, we have to keep going, keep persevering. Many, many times I want to give up because, like fundraising and everything, but we have to think of, I always close my eye and think of who can I help in the future. I'm thinking of like the homeless people I can help, the orphanage children that I help. we can donate, or do something with them. So this is these people, special people that keep me going and keep me persevering. And we have to join good network. The first network that I joined, and I'm very grateful to you, Ayumi, is Women in Tech Global Movement. You have to join the good network. You can't do it alone. I think as a woman, we need help, especially the women group would help me. And also some other organization I would love to thank, like MEW London program, which is a part of the government program and European Fund. This is the program that helped me and encourage me and connect me with the right persons. I think we need this as well. A good teamwork, definitely. I said before, I can't do it alone by myself. And then also the right investor and partners as well. So the future opportunity, as I said before, I always interested in technology like blockchain technology. So we are working with the new partners now. When we raise fund, our investor, one of them own the big IT company as well. We're working with them. So the opportunity, like how can we help other people in other countries, in the other area besides UK and Europe as well. So next move, we plan to expand to Asia and Africa as well. That my aim is how to use our technology to help them as well in the future, and also pay it forward. I always think about something like donation to the homeless people, or do micro lending or P2P lending to help. Say, for example, the farmer in Thailand, we can do P2P lending from people, maybe Thai people who live in UK and Europe that can afford to lend money to the farmer in Thailand. This is something in pipeline that we think in the future we can do. For women in tech in Thailand, the challenge is because the lockdown, we can't meet, but I managed to meet my team, a small team in Bangkok, in Thailand somewhere. So in the future, when the lockdown finishes, because in Thailand it's still like, part of the lockdown, we want to, one of the team members, the lady on the left, she owned a big land. She used the land to educate students, young children between like 4 to 12 to come in her land and learn about nature. So we plan to do something together, maybe girl coding and maybe hackathon. If you look at on the right hand side, I think last weekend I helped Malaysian girl hackathons, junior and senior, on behalf of Women in Tech Thailand, be as a judge. Like I'm thinking of like a butterfly effect, small little thing that we can help girls to encourage them to learn about coding. What they have is like 12 weeks program funded by the Sarawak, part of one area, small area in Malaysia. And then they give the girls different group, I think I cannot remember, 20 groups to learn 12 weeks how to do coding, and then they have to do the app as well. So then they do hackathon, and then I was one of the judges to encourage them, and then we select the winners. This is part of this that I want to do it, not only in Thailand but in Asia, but I would like to do similar like this in Thailand. So we would slowly, gradually encourage girls to know that coding is fun.
That's
and we can do that. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm
That's
sorry.
all for me. Thank you.
But I'm mindful of time. Clearly, you are a born technologist that has broken the misconception that women cannot be tech savvy. There you go. You are a prime example of a very tech savvy woman that is up to date and clearly paving the way for other women. And it's wonderful to see I'm going to call it the Ayumi effect, because clearly Ayumi is having a great positive effect on all these women across the world. And it's fantastic to see. And what you're doing is great. I'm sure that the fact that you've been licensed already in the UK will help you get licensed elsewhere. And if you ever need legal help, don't hesitate to reach out to me, please. Thank you for empowering so many people and helping so many. And with that, I'd like to move on to our next esteemed panelist, Andrea. Andrea, hello, how are you?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's a great pleasure to support the Manama Entrepreneurs Week and to be with all of you here today.
Andrea, you are another fantastic lady that has achieved well beyond many expectations of what women should or should not achieve, misconceptions, let's say. So you have founded several higher education institutions, and you're the co-founder of HER, pronounced as Her, Digital Academy. Can you please tell us about your work and what you've done and how the Ayumi effect has changed your path?
Absolutely. So I had passion for education since education transformed my life. And that's when at the age of 7, I left my home country of Yugoslavia due to civil war. And I came to Canada as a refugee with a single mother. So it was up to me and my generation to pursue education and to better not only my life, but the life of my family. So this is when I firsthand experienced how transformational education could be for a young woman or a woman that's looking to change careers. And I actually decided to saw an opportunity to innovate education in Canada in 2008. And this is when I opened the first higher education school in Canada. And I was able to introduce live online training and reach communities across Canada that would otherwise not have access to education. And for me, education is actually being able to bring knowledge to communities that cannot otherwise access it. And with the online ability now with technology, we're able to empower so many more people across the world. And this is how I actually met Ayumi, is during the pandemic in 2019. When I think we were all sort of forced to network through online because there was no physical contact. And I read the story that Ayumi mentioned, which is the story of Ms. Damianowska, who took Women in Tech Bootcamp and whose life was changed after that. So when I read that story, and she's a woman from Macedonia, I reached out to Ayumi and I wanted to know more. And I wanted to know more about educational aspect as well of women in tech. And that's where the idea of Her Digital Academy was born. We wanted to make education, it's great to have an advocacy part of promoting women in tech and empowering women in tech. It's wonderful to have a supporting community. But one of the gaps that I realized was actually reaching these women early on, reaching them and making the education, tech education more accessible and more appealing to them, showing them there is a clear career path in technology, clear path to connecting them to jobs after they complete the school was the key. So through Her Digital Academy, we were able to create immersive programs for software engineering, for web development. And we were also able to offer through our social impact branch of the school, some of the coding, intro to coding courses, introduction to coding 101, just to give women an opportunity to, as Narissa said, to make coding fun, to make it more accessible, and to pique their interest in coding, in technology. And throughout this wonderful discussion today, one of the key things that I noticed that Narissa and Mafu were saying is the access to funds, which is the key. So it's great to connect women to jobs, education and jobs, but there's also women who are entrepreneurs. And it's important to recognize that this is also a job and a career for them. So how do we empower women entrepreneurs? And this is where, and I'm just going to try and share my screen as well. I'm unable to share the screen, but this is where the idea of her startup, which is the Global Women Accelerated, founded by women, which we recently launched through her digital academy. And the accelerator is for women in tech entrepreneurs. We're working with different partners and VCs in order to be able to support women in tech entrepreneurs and provide them with education, the confidence to pitch their products and access to funding. So those are some of the exciting things we're working at her Digital Academy. We also are collaborating with MAFU as well in Zambia, and we have offices in UAE, location in UAE as well. So our goal is to empower even more women. And we've noticed that some of the women taking our courses are from all around the globe, 6 different continents. So that gives us confidence to move more and move at the larger scale and continue to provide education through her Digital Academy.
Thank you, Andrea. Another very inspiring story, and I'm so thrilled to hear that you see women taking up the courses and participating in your sort of accelerator from across the world. I was going to ask you that question, whether the accelerator is just for women in Canada, entrepreneurs, or whether it's accessible worldwide. I think you've said it is.
So it's a great question. Actually, we're launching the accelerator for Canada. It will be launched. Applications will open on November the 19th, which is Women Entrepreneurship Day. So it will be for Canada as a smaller pilot project, and our goal is to launch it globally. And that is why we need the support of VCs who are looking to invest and access in women-founded businesses, technology businesses specifically.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you. I understand the VC market and landscape is growing, especially in the US and North America. And I understand, well, I know firsthand that in the Middle East as well, it's growing and it's becoming more and more prevalent. And I'm sure you will have no problems, and we're all here to support each other as much as we can. Thank you for your inspiring story, Andrea. And with that, I'll move on to our next esteemed panelist, if I may. And Lamis is the head of digital content. Sorry, Lamis, I don't have your exact in front of me. And LinkedIn, head of digital and tech in LinkedIn. And I think Lamis, it's very, very interesting to have on our panel today, because she's going to give us another perspective on what she sees in terms of the progression of women in technology. Lamis, excuse me for not introducing you that well.
No worries at all. I'll introduce myself. So my name is Lamis Ammar, and I work for LinkedIn as Key Accounts Director for MENA region. And as well, I lead the social impact team for the MENA chapter as well. Thank you. It's really impressive and very inspiring, the panelists today, and so much to learn from you. Actually, you are all very inspiring. So what I do and what I love to do at LinkedIn is we empower the whole global community, but as well women in specific, on how to build their network and advance their career on LinkedIn. Yes, it's very important to have presence and your profile, but your network as well, because this is how you will be able to connect to opportunity. And especially the data at LinkedIn shows that women are less likely to have a strong network, which means less access to opportunity, which means companies may be missing some of the best candidates who have the right skills. You might find so many women in tech that have these right skills, but they're missing because they don't have strong network. So part of the initiatives and the events we do under the social impact umbrella is we help them and empower them to build their network and how they can connect to opportunity. Another like a very nice initiative as well we have worked on is we unlocked learning courses for digital and IT like jobs in demand. We have checked some data and analysis from our data, came up what are the most in demand skills and what are the most in demand jobs and what are these skills. Part of these skills were like, part of these jobs, of course, were the data analysts, the IT specialists, and the software developers. And during my sessions, when I do these sessions for women, I share these learning paths so that they can learn and they can apply to jobs. And I would like as well to talk about my experience in tech, because I also co-lead a community called Connecting Women in Technology, and which has 16 major tech companies in the region. Part of what we see when we are working or we are trying to encourage women to come into the tech, there's lots of lack of confidence. So you see that the women don't have confidence to approach tech fields or to work in tech. Another stereotype is you would see the woman thinking that to work in tech, you only need to be a software developer. And we all have in the back of our mind that this is a stereotype. It has to be only for men. But if you come and see the roles at tech, if you have a passion for marketing, you can still work in tech. If you have passion for sales, you can still work in tech. So we're part of this community where we are connecting the women in technology is we are like showcasing and shedding the light on the other important roles that you can still work in tech as well, even if you didn't have the passion for coding. And we are trying as well to show them role models from the coders that work for these big tech companies, to encourage them that it's very exciting and interesting. All you need to do is like to have the confidence and pursue these fields. In addition to this, it's very important to have a mentor. And sorry, I can't remember who of the speakers said that it all, I think you, Futun, it all starts at home. So we need to encourage like this, like as students, the girls from younger age, that it's not you work in marketing or sales if you are a woman, and if you are a man, you work as a coder. No, let it be your passion who leads you. And like you should work in whatever you feel you want to work, and it's never too late. So always like you need to have a mentor, whether it's at home or even at school, or someone to coach you and to like encourage you to go for these tech fields, or to as well pursue STEM fields. Another very important aspect is like it's never too late. So today, if you tell me, okay, but I graduated in marketing, but like I can see all this data analysis and I'm interested to pursue a role in data analyst, it's never too late. We are almost in a skills market labor. So you can go upskill your skills and then search for a job in this talent in specific. So never let anything stand in your way. Always, like you will find on LinkedIn so many mentors, and we run as well mentoring programs. Always ask. We should run more awareness programs to encourage the females to ask, to have mentors. You should know more about, because it's more of like just stereotyping. We don't know, like we are like, especially in the Arab world, like since we are young. I also studied computer science, but because my dad was like, okay, so I used to think that tech is only for men, but then he told me, no, you can still be a computer scientist. You can still pursue a field in tech. And this is when I started learning more, and I really liked it, and I studied it. So I really believe this strongly helps the women or the school girls. And another like initiative we also have just run, we started running in the UAE, which is very interesting, and I would like to share with you, is that we have partnered on the Future Skills for Women Development, which is a partnership between the UAE Prime Minister Office and LinkedIn to equip 2,000 young women with the skills of the future and enlarge their economic opportunities in the workforce. This 3-year program targets female students in STEM and tech fields in the UAE, and aims to sustain like their future professional path through knowledge enrichment, professional mentorship, and policy enhancement. So these are the kind of programs we're working in and how we can support. And of course, it all starts with your network. So like the network you have, or whether on LinkedIn or outside LinkedIn, it's really important to help you connect to opportunity.
Thank you so much, Lamise. First and foremost, I'm definitely reaching out to you for the network ability to enhance the network. And I agree with you. Often we compartmentalize tech as being some computer coder or some app developer. What we don't realize is tech is part of every single thing and industry and occupation and profession we do. So today, for example, having a degree in a tech type degree and the law degree is much more valuable to a law firm than just an academic law degree. A tech-savvy lawyer is the lawyer that's going to do well in the future of the legal services industry. And like you said, do what you're passionate about, whatever it is, because that will always have an element of tech in it, especially today as technology disrupts every single sector and every single industry that we know. So that I would agree with you, and I would be very interested if we could discuss those programs that you're doing and hopefully bring them to Bahrain as well. Thank you. That's really, really good to know and really inspiring. Thank you, Lamis.
Yeah, as well, Futun, I would love to run a session on how they can build their profile, how can they use LinkedIn to search for opportunity, and how they can build like their network as well. So I would love to support on this, and of course we'll schedule it later on.
Thank you very much. We'd be very interested in that, I'm sure, as a society and as individuals. And last but absolutely not least of our learned and esteemed panelists, I would like to go to Purva. And Purva Agrawal, how are you?
Thank you so much, Futun. I think it's great. Hello to everyone. What a phenomenal session it has been. And I really enjoyed the talks of our fellow panelists. I mean, Zambia chapter, consistently learning from you how inspiring your team is. In fact, I've been telling my team about it and talking about the impact footprint that is coming up. Narisa, wonderful, successful entrepreneur. Again, personally, you're very, very inspiring because as a woman entrepreneur, I often share the same sentiments that you shared in your talk today. And, before I talk about my speech and what I've prepared to share about the Women in Tech India chapter, definitely complimenting Doris on her excellent execution, crisp communication in terms of organization today. It's a pleasure. So, just to give a little background before I begin about myself, I am one of the first female solopreneurs in India who's, kind of challenging the status quo when it comes to online banking and wallet space for children. As a financial analyst and in private equity investment advisory in London, I also used to write in the same field for a publication for institutional investors. I'm the ambassador now, of a very new chapter, Women in Tech in India. Last month, we did our 6 months anniversary. And we are really, really dedicated towards improving the gap in India. I'm also a researcher at heart, and I've been researching on mergers and acquisitions. Previously, I used to work as a business development specialist and with management consultancies, international organization and policy making like Global Policy Insights, International Trade Council, and was also delivering internal audits, business process reviews, internal financial control reviews with leading organizations such as BDO and Grant Thornton India. Now, I know the format of today was to talk about my tech business, but I'm very, very excited to talk first about what we are doing in the Women in Tech India chapter, and definitely share some achievements that we've been able to do as a young chapter, some challenges that we come across, and some exciting opportunities for anybody who'd like to collaborate on what we're doing in India. Now, Women in Tech India chapter, as I mentioned, is just very, very recent. In April, we inaugurated it. We are hardly 6 months old, and we began this chapter in a virtual event because of the pandemic with very, very talented 4 ladies who came on our advisory board. Now, they brought a mix and a diverse mix when it comes to the advisory board, like a semi-government profile, somebody who was leading the prop tech startup sector in India, in terms of policy policy, and also a non-for-profit sector member. So that's how we had a very, very well curated board who had experiences from different sectors for the India chapter. And that's when all 15 women came together to drive this mission-driven project in India in the chapter. And now we are committed to impact 1 million women in the next 5 years, while Women in Tech Global, I know, has a mission of 5 million. So I think, as apart from China being the most popular, having the highest population, I think India is the second. So we definitely want to play on the number game and say that, yes, we'd love to do as much impact as we can. Now, in the last 6 months, the chapter has been launched with great women leaders from top companies who came to the launch, like a Vodafone, Uber, Facebook, AWS, and they were speaking in the event about challenges that they faced in their own careers, what they feel about. And the best thing that we saw in the chapter is that it was just not restricted to a panel discussion, but then soon these leaders, followed this up with a small networking group that we made on WhatsApp, where they said that, we want to actually walk our words and not just be walking, but also be walking the talk in terms of what we want to see India as. And that was a fantastic opportunity where we, put our follow-up calls with these leaders to understand what is it that we should be doing as a chapter in India. And I think, as an ambassador, I'm of the belief that any chapter should be a reflection of the people in it. And, that's what we wanted to do in India as well. So, with our panelists, advisors, members, we prioritized digital inclusion amongst the COVID-19 as a key agenda. Now, we not only began to campaign for a fundraise with Winners Trust, which is a primary school that needed to be rescued. And, but we also ended up planning to donate a STEM library to the school, computer courses and mentorship program. And Diria has been one of the pillars who, opened her digital academy to the school. And I think it's fantastic on what we're trying to do when it comes to kids who technically, with COVID, in that village, there were 4 schools. And if Women in Tech would not come and, inspire them and say, what, we're there for you, the school would have been wiped away. Almost 16 years of legacy of that school doing grassroots primary education just because of COVID and, problems that everybody faced during the pandemic would have completely been gone for those kids. So with the help of many young leaders and volunteers, the school found support from Women in Tech to launch WhatsApp-based education in the pandemic. Now, even right now, schools in India are not they're not operational. Definitely primary schools are still shut. That's the reality that the schools are facing in India. What we have done from Women in Tech is do a program called World Language Leaders, where, kids from these underserved backgrounds have received video-based lessons and opened their mind to the cultures like, French, German, and that not, because they're still learning English. Most of these kids are having regional language as their base. So what the program did was not only teach German and English and Spanish, but also start from that regional level and regional language. So that's how these kids are putting up their learning curve. Second thing that we did in terms of digital equity is give freely available programs called Hello Computers, which teaches basic digital skills like a Microsoft suite and all of this bit about what a computer is, what do you do on YouTube, what is a Google search, simple stuff like that, which could obviously involve these kids into the world of technology, because definitely, technology in terms of access is definitely somebody who could financially afford it. But with the pandemic, I think we had to make it into a way where more and more people could be included, and that gap which is coming up in society could be addressed. So that is something that Hello Computers is doing, and actively our team is now trying to expand this, freely giving it away to any non-for-profit or school or young school who want to take this program, put it up on their YouTube, spread it across WhatsApp, and let that run freely for everybody. Now, further, I think ladies in the Indian chapter in the last 6 months have been, and I think this is one part where I think Lamis will be very happy to note, we brought up a webinar for women who are in their careers to, which talked about how to optimize the LinkedIn algorithm. We called it the LinkedIn game, which was not only a webinar, but definitely as well as a PDF that people could take away, which spoke about, what is that golden hour? How does the algorithm work? How can we crack it? Because in the end, I think all of us in the pandemic are accelerating our careers, our missions, our own values on LinkedIn. And it's a place where, now with the pandemic, we are much more connected across the world, and, we're making magic happen. I think Women in Tech is one example where, this chapter was launched in the pandemic, and I've met so many women, so many inspiring women. And all of that has happened through LinkedIn, through the power of digital mediums. So this is what we did. And, we would happy to maybe do it again with her as part, and maybe see how we can increase that impact footprint when it comes to women in their careers. One of the other things that we have been doing that we recognize, this again came from our members, was how young girls and mothers are facing the pandemic. So this is where we did a program which called for digital health and well-being, and this was done with help of mental health professionals, as well as one of the chapter members, and I think she was only 17 years old, leading this entire talk, talking about her perspective as a child being stuck in the pandemic, and what does digital health and digital mental health mean in these times. So this has been a roundup of all the achievements that we've been able to do in the last 6 months as a chapter. And then, we've been doing other small stuff in terms of letting the ecosystem being as open as possible. We did Hack for Equity with Google, Women Tech Makers, some education bodies, etc. Very many small events that are coming up. And this is, on a roundup from me on what we have achieved in India. Some of the challenges are that the fundraising program that we started for the school, it includes scholarity funding, a computer lab, a library, and much more. So we are there almost 56% close to what we wanted to raise. And it's all there on W for anybody who would like to spread the word with us. But definitely what we'd like to do is, because schools are still shut and underserved kids are on a problem where, yes, they are facing problems when it comes to affording, digital devices, affording scholarity, and, continuing their education. We definitely want to support something like that. So that's one of the challenges where we hope to find much more collaboration from the international community to see that we can reach that funding goal very fast for kids. Other than that, I think on a country level, we are very much committed to a lot of impact, and that's what our intention is. What we want to do is definitely open up other programs which talk about gender stereotypes. One of the missions that we highlighted was about this entire mental block that women see with the imposter syndrome. This has been a topic in Tech India has been actively speaking. That's what we did in another event for an MNC, exclusively talking about what it is with successful women stopping themselves or questioning their own achievements mentally. So this is the kind of stuff that we want to continue doing. Definitely promote a lot of deep tech careers, emerging technology in India, because that's a space that women lack to explore in India. We want to be talking about workplace biases that women face very soon, and also how the childbearing phase, I assume some speaker also mentioned this before in this discussion, but that's what I want to do. So I understand we are lacking time, and I will pause here. I'll keep good piggy for some other time, but I was happy to share what we are doing and what we want to do in India.
Well, Purva, thank you so much. I mean, if you can achieve all of that in 6 months during a pandemic, God only knows what you can achieve in the next 6 years post-pandemic. That's really, really amazing. And I agree with you. It's all about collaboration. It's all about working together, helping each other. We don't join these networks just to work in silos and just to do something in India or something in Canada or something in Thailand. We join these, or in Bahrain, indeed, we join these networks and we're part of something big and global. And we must work together, I think, to make a real impact across the globe, across the countries that we operate in. Thank you, and good luck to you in a very tough environment. Now, I'd like to open the floor to any questions, please. Does anyone have any questions to any of the panelists? We had a lot of very nice comments here. I don't think we have any questions at the moment. And with that, I shall leave the floor to Doris, who would like to perhaps close off. I just want to say from my perspective, ladies, it's been an absolute pleasure and an inspiring event for me. And it's really amazing to meet you all. And I hope we can see each other again and work together and really make a difference together. Thank you. Thank you for joining and for your interesting discussions. Doris.
Yes, thank you, Fatun, for the moderation, excellent moderation. It went smoothly. And I thank you all, the participants and the outstanding panelists. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've been taking notes and I've been complimenting people on the side on the discussion, side discussions, but it was an amazing work. And I promise you, I will try my best to try to help sponsors part of these chapters who need our support, financial support. Now, luckily in Bahrain, we're fortunate in Bahrain, we have something like called Tamkeen that helps all. It helps the Bahrainis and non-Bahrainis. So that means, hint, hint, if you're non-Bahraini, if you want to open a chapter in Bahrain or open a company or business in Bahrain, you have to have a commercial CR in Bahrain. So that will help you to provide the resources that you might need, whether it's logistics or perhaps employment, Bahraini employment. They will help provide you with human capital. But then this will go back to with Fatou, because that's her subject matter expert. They wrote a book about doing business in Bahrain that gives you all the details, the steps, what to do when you want to open up a business in Bahrain. I put it in the chat, so if you need any information about it, further information, please reach out to her. But I will definitely reach out to the rest of the chapters accordingly and see how we can help you, especially the financial supports. And I also reached out for LinkedIn. Lemis, if you're able to try and help, if you're able to help, we're all sisters in the end. We're all one big family and we have to support each other and one way or the other. And we will try to do it accordingly. But thank you so much for your attendance, for your contribution. Such a wonderful event.